The trial for George Allen Kelly continues, and here's what you need to know. Daniel Ramirez, who was with Gabriel Buitimea, admits to smuggling drugs into the United States. Forensic pathologist Dr. Krista Trimm and forensic scientist Rick Wyant left how Gabriel died open to interpretation. And George's wife, Wanda Kelly, took the stand. Hello, I'm Lelli, and welcome to my channel. If you're new here, thank you for joining us. Don't forget to subscribe and activate the notification bell to stay up to date on all upcoming videos. Let's get started. On March 27th, day 3 of the trial, Daniel Ramirez took the stand. During Daniel's testimony, the prosecutor focused on the journey as well as what Daniel remembered regarding the shots, the location that they were at. However, when it was the defense attorney's opportunity to cross-examine Daniel, one of the first things she did was bring up Daniel's prior criminal history. According to Daniel had only done it once. However, he did admit to smuggling drugs into the United States. Let's take a listen.
I'm sorry, no. The question is, you do sometimes participate in drug smuggling, correct? La pregunta es si es correcto que usted a veces participa en tráfico de drogas, ¿sí?
Nomás una vez.
Just once. So you have participated in drug smuggling, correct? Entonces sí han participado en el tráfico de drogas, ¿correcto? Correct. And you didn't have to do that, correct? Y no tenía que hacer eso, ¿correcto? No. You did that voluntarily, correct? Usted lo hizo de su propia voluntad, ¿correcto? Yes. You decided, I don't have this $2,500, so I'll carry drugs instead. You made that decision, right? Usted decidió que no tenía los $2,500 que en vez de pagar, usted iba a llevar a las drogas. Fue una decisión que usted tomó, ¿correcto?
Sí.
Yes. And on that occasion, did you just go up to the border and somebody offered this opportunity to you? Y en esa ocasión usted nada más llegó a la frontera y alguien le ofreció esa oportunidad.
Sí.
Yes. And you took it. Y se tomó la oportunidad. Yes.
After Daniel admits to smuggling drugs into the United States, the defense attorney focuses on all the inconsistent statements that Daniel is making throughout his testimony and prior communication that he had provided the deputies.
Can you see that on your screen? ¿Alcanza a ver eso en tu pantalla? Yes. And do you see at line 16, the question where the detective asks you, are there trees, fences, buildings? Line 16? Yes, that's where it is in Spanish.
Alcanza usted a ver en el renglón 16, donde dice, ahí en la calle es de tierra, hay árboles, cercos, and building.
That's the one.
Es ahí, ese renglón.
You remember being asked that question?
¿Usted se acuerda que le hicieron a usted esa pregunta? Yes.
And you responded and said no.
Y usted respondió y dijo, no.
Your response was
That
no.
no.
Is that correct?
Su respuesta fue que no. ¿Es correcto? Yes.
But today you're telling us there's a house, there's a fence, and there's the border wall, all right there in that area where the shooting happened, correct?
Usted dijo que no, pero ahora nos está diciendo que había una casa, que había un cerco y que estaba el muro de la frontera ahí cerca en el área, ¿verdad? But this right here was after the shots were fired.
You think you're being asked in this interview about what happens after the shots are fired?
¿Usted cree que esa parte de la entrevista es que le preguntaron después de los disparos? Yeah.
So today what you're saying is these three things are in that area where the shooting is. The fence, the house, the border wall.
Entonces ahora usted está diciendo que estas tres cosas estaban ahí en el área donde los disparos. Un cerco, un cerco, una casa, y ahí cerca estaba el muro de la frontera.
Sí.
Yes.
Now, on March 29th, which was day 5 of the trial, the forensic scientists testify. And the forensic scientist, he's an expert on ballistics and firearms. Ultimately, he states that without the bullet, he cannot make a determination whether it was Kelly's rifle that shot the fatal shot. Some of the questions that the defense attorney asked him were, so you can't prove who the shooter was, correct? Which he answered in the affirmative. Wyant couldn't confirm what kind of ammunition was used or what kind of firearm was actually used. The defense went even further into asking him if he could determine in the direction that the shot came from. Let's take a listen to some of his testimony.
And my question is it possible that that's a consistent scenario? Somebody's standing on the patio in that approximate radius of the shell casings, and they're aiming in a more upward direction. That's consistent.
That's consistent, true, yes.
Thank you. And so just to cut to the chase, there's no way to tell whether this wound that you examined was caused by the rifle that you tested, correct?
That's correct.
That's not something that we can prove scientifically, correct?
At this time, correct.
Okay.
The forensic scientist testimony helps the defense's case because it leaves the possibility of Gabriel being shot by other individuals who could have potentially been out there. Now, on day 6 of the trial, April 2nd, the forensic pathologist takes the stand. Dr. Krista Trimm conducted the autopsy, and during her direct examination, she does a good job explaining the process of conducting one. However, when it's time to do her cross, she puts up a fight.
And I'm going to assume that a body is placed in a cooler of some sort, correct?
Typically, yes.
Okay. And it's an individual cooler. I've never been to your establishment, but where the body is laying on a table and slides into this cooler?
It's not an individual cooler. It's a large walk-in cooler.
Okay. How do you keep bodies separated?
They're in body bags on individual tables.
Okay. And they all are ID'd, I would assume, correct?
No. We have a lot of unidentified individuals.
Do you give it a number?
Yes.
Okay, so it is ID'd in some format, whether you know who they are before or something that you do internally, correct?
They're given an identification number, yes.
Okay, I didn't say name, ma'am, I said ID'd. All right, so identification, ID is short for identification, correct?
Yes.
Okay, and so that's so you don't mix up bodies and get the wrong results, correct?
Yes.
I mean, that wouldn't be very good if you had results of someone else's autopsy for this body. That wouldn't be very good, would it?
No.
So there are.
As you can see in this line of questioning, she seems to be a little hesitant about answering certain questions. However, the defense attorney did get her to agree that the directionality of the bullet could have been at a lower elevation point because of the trajectory of the body.
That area.
Now, you named 3 ribs where it entered in. Where did you place it between those 3?
Below the 7th.
Okay. Now, so you said 6 through 8, right?
Correct.
So you just took the middle road for that, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Why would a bullet hit 3 ribs?
Because of the velocity associated with it.
What about the angle? Turn them a little bit just so jurors can see different perspective. If something was lowered and went into an upward movement, is it possible that the angle caused the impact damage to more than one rib?
I'm not sure what that question is asked.
If I was down low, shooting upward, is it possible the projectile hit more than one rib, causing the fracture or the break?
You would expect a more direct or upward trajectory for that to happen. It would have come this way, not line.
Do the ribs and all the bones affect the possibility of a change in the direction? Is that possible?
Fractures and going through bone are going to change the projectile.
Will?
Yes.
Okay. Sense that this could have been a lower elevation shot that caused it go from down to upward, correct?
If the body was in an upright position, yes.
Okay. And there's other explanations, right?
Innumerable.
Right. And the problem is, you don't know, correct?
I don't know I know the trajectory of the bullet through the body.
Right. And we can see it now with this rod in there, that it starts low and goes high. That we do know, correct?
Yes.
And so all the possibilities that could be out there, we just don't know how this happened, right?
I do not.
Right.
On day 7 of the trial, April 3rd, Wanda Kelly testified. Wanda and George Kelly have been married for over 50 years. Wanda calls Alan her protector.
Correct? Correct. And you are scared? I am scared.
This was too close to the house.
It's too close to the house. And Alan's always been my protector, and so I was so afraid for him.
Wanda's testimony was that on January 30th, 2023, Kelly was standing in the kitchen at the bar eating a sandwich while she was in the living room with her cat. When Kelly told her to be quiet because he heard a shot, she then calls Border Patrol as he stood on the east patio with his AK-47, his rifle. And she went to the living room between the two windows and she heard a gunfire, close enough to be Alan's. She heard about 5 to 6 shots. However, the prosecutor tells Wanda that she had initially told the deputies that she heard 4 shots. Wanda also says she saw about 5 men. And the prosecutor reminds her that she initially told deputies she had seen 2 men, so she points out that inconsistent statement. Ms. Kelly apologized, but states that she was under a lot of stress and couldn't be expected to remember everything.
Sweetheart, I could have told him the sky was purple that night. I'm sorry. I was all messed up.
The trial continues, and there is discussion about whether the jurors will be allowed to visit the ranch. Stay tuned here on Lelli Law as we keep you updated on all the highlights of the trial. If you have any questions or comments, please drop them below. And don't forget to like and share our video. Thank you for watching. Until next time.